What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Yeah. The hot topic of today in the heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. This time, I'm going to touch on a lot of different points here, man, but I want to cover something that Vladimir Klitschko, the 100% lock Hall of Fame heavyweight champion, who he and his brother dominated the heavyweight division for a decade at least, weighed in on the fight between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder and essentially said that, Deontay Wilder is a very, very dangerous fight for Joshua because of certain attributes that Deontay Wilder has that could cause a lot of problems for Anthony Joshua. And while he says that he's not saying for sure that Deontay Wilder will beat Anthony Joshua, he does point out some things that I think are very interesting, especially for people who think that Deontay Wilder's lack of technique, the way that they usually phrase that, is a disadvantage. Vladimir Klitschko actually thinks that his unorthodox style and technique are an advantage for Deontay Wilder. So let me get into that real quick. But before I do so, please, I'm going to try to do a live stream later today, cover a bunch of different issues. Did a video earlier today on Gennady Golovkin and Daniel Jacobs. Definitely want to talk about Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney and the kind of rumor mill going on around that. Also, we have a really great weekend of fights coming up with Adrian Bronner and Jesse Vargas, Cuellar and Gervonta Davis, and also Centino and Jamal Charlo. So, and then I think also we have Lo Greco and Amir Khan and Lo Greco are going to fight next weekend as well. So it's just next weekend's a really hot weekend for boxing. This one has been kind of slow, but we want to cover those in a live stream. So hopefully you'll accept my invitation to attend. And the best way to do that is to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when we do the live streams, because we don't always do them at a regularly scheduled time. So the best way is to be part of the people, join the group of people that get the notifications on, whenever they occur. So hopefully you'll accept my invitation to do that. So now let me cover this article and the quotes from Vladimir Klitschko, and then I'll go into detail, give you my thoughts on it. And also, I'm going to cover again some pretty standard, arguments that some of these people who I honestly, man, I don't know if these guys are fans of boxing or not. I just think that I don't know, man. I don't know how you called for guys that are just continually trying to come up with reasons, for fights not to happen. And when it's pointed out that, anyway, I'll get that in a second. Klitschko impressed with Wilder. It's a dangerous fight for Joshua. The former ruler of the heavyweight division, Vladimir Klitschko, may not be that impressed with Tyson Fury, but he is very impressed with WBC world champion Deontay Wilder, who's 40-0 and 39 knockouts. There are ongoing talks for Wilder to collide with the IBF, IBO, WBA, and WBO champion Anthony Joshua, who's 21-0 with 20 KOs. Both Wilder and Joshua were used as sparring partners by Klitschko. Klitschko retired from the sport last year. In the fight of his career, he fought Joshua in April 2017 before a crowd of 90,000 in Wembley, London. Klitschko had Joshua down and in serious trouble in the 6th round, but the younger man rallied in the later rounds to score 2 knockdowns to secure a TKO victory in the 11th round. A highly anticipated rematch was scheduled for the fall, but Klitschko instead made the unexpected decision to retire from the sport. While Klitschko confidently sides with Joshua to defeat Tyson Fury, who in 2015 handed the Ukrainian legend his first defeat in a decade, he is not as confident about the British superstar's ability to overcome the dangerous nature of a Wilder showdown. He says Wilder has certain attributes, like a big advantage in speed, to overcome Joshua's edge in technique. it would be a dangerous fight for Joshua. I'm not saying he wouldn't win, but Wilder has something, Klitschko said. Due to his weight, he is extremely fast. He has good power in his hands and is extremely fast. Maybe he is kind of wild in his technique, but those punches are coming from who knows where. He is hard to defend against. Where is that punch going to land, or which side is it coming from? Joshua has all around more capability, but Wilder is taller than Joshua and is faster than Joshua. He doesn't have the weight behind his punches, but he's extremely fast. And it would depend on what kind of mood both fighters were in. So, yeah, let me go ahead and put some words in his mouth, man. When you're saying that you don't know, we all know in boxing what the biggest, they always say it, what are the punches that hurt you? Two sayings: speed kills, and the punches that hurt you are the ones you don't see coming. And boxers are trained, just like in any sport, to expect, you train and you drill and you drill and you drill and you drill so that your body, so you don't have to think about certain things. If somebody throws a jab, you know what to do. If somebody goes to the jab, you know, you throw your punch, you do this, you do that. You expect to see this come back from them. You know, it's very much where and this is all sports. If you do one thing, you can expect that they're more than likely going to do something else in return. And you might do one thing to try to set up another. But when somebody is unorthodox, when somebody fights in a style that you've never seen before and your muscle memory is not in place for, it's hard to defend against. I was on a panel actually I think it was on 78 Sports TV, and I'm so sorry that I'm forgetting the name of the channel right now that talked about it. It was a professional boxer, and he said he described the feeling of fighting somebody who was very, very awkward, and he said that it's like you see the punch coming, but you're just so frozen because it's coming from somewhere you're not expecting it to come from that you're like, wow, this is about to hit me. And then boom, it hits you. Similar to awkward fighters like Marcus Maidana, just guys that, when you're dealing with the southpaw, you're not used to southpaws where everything is coming, from a different angle. And the things that you're usually able to do with orthodox fighters, you're not able to do with southpaw fighters. Then the same thing occurs when you're dealing with somebody that is extremely, extremely awkward. Somebody that you don't know where punches are coming from. Sometimes they're coming straight. Sometimes they're really coming, very wide. And from what I can see, the problem with somebody with speed as its speed overcomes a lot of technical issues. A lot of the reasons why people try to keep their game very tight and not throw wild punches is because it takes longer for wide punches to get there, and the other guy is able to react, come underneath it, and counter you. But what happens if it's somebody that is faster than you with a wide punch than you are with a straight one? And that thing comes, and you're talking about a guy that's 6'7", somebody who's got fast feet and fast hands. And while he says that there's not a lot of weight behind the punch, that's a different thing from saying that he doesn't have a lot of power, because he's hitting you where you don't see it coming, and he's hitting you with a lot of speed. And he's got such long levers that power leaving from the floor, going up through his legs, up through his hips, through his shoulders, through his arms, straight to that hand. That's why the dude's got 39 knockouts. Because when that stuff builds all the way up, and by the time it gets through that kinetic chain, it's landing on your chin or on the side of your temple, right? And you don't see it coming, it's night time. And that has been the case over and over and over again. And this is also coming from somebody, Vladimir Klitschko, that's been in the ring with Deontay Wilder. He's been in the ring with him. Now, this is Deontay. Now, again, we keep talking about how, and it's so funny to me that a guy that is actively calling out somebody you got one guy in Deontay Wilder that's actively saying he wants to fight, actively calling out for the fight. You got another guy in Anthony Joshua who is, if he's asked the question, then he'll say he would like to fight. But then comes back with, the guy, if he's serious, he's not really serious. They said the same thing about Tyson Fury in this interview with Eddie Hearn. That honestly, I don't understand how anybody, like, just allowing Eddie Hearn to talk for an hour and defending his position doesn't make of the fact that Eddie Hearn is just a blatant liar leave. That doesn't go away, man. So I watched the interview, and one of the things he said was behind all the money stuff, all the money stuff, and I call it money stuff because, for people that listen to this channel, I was done with the flat fee. Nobody in a fight like this has ever taken a flat fee. I mean, that's just unprecedented. And there was, by the way, a report that came out from a quote from Shelley Finkel pretty much saying the same thing. Like, hold on, man. He was like, look, nobody would ever take that type of deal because it's a flat fee. And if the fight does very, very well, we're leaving a ton of money on the table. So, but hey, man, people ride with those excuses. They send an offer to Deontay Wilder that just the structure of it is like, whatever, man. I don't think Anthony Joshua wants to fight, but that aside, now you have many people flat out picking Deontay Wilder to beat Anthony Joshua. Because Anthony Joshua is not that fast. He's not that big. Relative to Deontay Wilder, he's not that big. He's not bigger. His musculature is bigger, but his frame is not bigger. The bigger frame, the more length on that is with Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder has the speed advantage. He has the experience advantage. And he just has an aggressive nature that I think is going to cause a lot of problems for Anthony Joshua. And getting in the ring with Deontay Wilder is a huge risk. And as long as fight fans in the UK continue to say that, they're okay showing up and watching him fight, the second best competition, there's no real reason for him to do it. So, it is what it is. But when Klitschko's talking about it, this is a guy that does not have a horse in the race. He's been in the ring with Anthony Joshua. He's been in the ring with Deontay Wilder. He's been in the ring with Tyson Fury. Now, I'm not so sure about his assessment with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I just think that Vladimir Klitschko really does not like Tyson Fury. And I think he'd pick against Tyson. I think he'd pick against Tyson Fury if Tyson Fury is fighting Jarrell Miller. That's just my take, because Tyson Fury got so far underneath that dude's skin and was so disrespectful of Vladimir Klitschko. I know that Vladimir Klitschko is a very professional. He's very professional. He can be quite stoic, right? He's been in the media for a long time. Very experienced. Really does take care of his image very well. Real stand-up guy from everything that I can see of him and his brother. But we're all human. So him picking Anthony Joshua over Tyson Fury without really, I didn't see the explanation from it. I just heard him that he called Tyson Fury a fart in the wind. But, it is what it is. He has his opinion about that, so I'll stick with it. But yeah, what he's giving right here, it's making it sound as if, look, man, who the more fundamentally sound boxer is. The more fundamentally sound boxer is Anthony Joshua. That's the guy who is more fundamental by textbook, more of a textbook straight up and down fighter. Deontay Wilder's the better athlete and the more dangerous fighter. He's the guy that can knock you out with a punch coming from, like he said, which side is it going to come from? Right now, that doesn't sound like somebody that's saying he only has a right hand. He's saying it's some crazy shit, crazy fast shit coming at you, and you don't know what side it's coming from. And he's got enough speed in his foot. Now he's also talking about his mobility, because his footwork, as we saw with the, if you watch the Luis Ortiz fight, Luis Ortiz had a hard time tracking Deontay Wilder down when Deontay Wilder starts to move, because he's so fleet-footed. And that's it. That is an advantage to being 6'7", 215, 220 pounds, where you don't have a lot of weight holding you down. And he was a former basketball player, a former football player. So even though he might not have been in the basketball the boxing ring for, what did he start when he's 19 years old? So he's about 10, he's 12, 13 years in the boxing ring now. But he's been an athlete his entire life. So as far as learning eye-hand coordination, being able to move, playing basketball where you got to cut from side to side, you got to be able to anticipate, get to rebounds, being very physical, being able to body up with guys that are bigger than you. Because even at 6'7" and playing basketball, he's probably not going to be at a college level or at a high AAU level, the biggest guy on the court. So you just basically have an athlete there, man. You have a real athlete with with serious athletic ability that then picked up the sport of boxing, and where other people have to rely upon fundamentals in order to make sure that they don't get taken advantage of by somebody who's faster or somebody that's stronger. You have somebody that has the speed to make up for certain fundamental. They can make some mistakes that some people that are not as athletic can't make. Allen Iverson is somebody that's for people that were familiar with basketball. Allen Iverson was not the most technically sound and fundamental basketball player ever. But what he was somebody that is a tremendous, tremendous athlete. And where he met and what he lost from not being necessarily like a Isaiah Thomas. Where Isaiah Thomas, everything about Isaiah Thomas, the basketball player, was fundamentally sound. I'm talking about the older Isaiah Thomas, the one that played for the Detroit Pistons. Everything was really tight. He dribbled in the box. Everything was pretty much, not completely picture perfect because, people have different jump shots. They look different ways. But he was very, very fundamentally sound. Brought along by a very good school, a St. Joseph's High School, where he had great coaching. Goes to Bobby Knight, great coach from Indiana, then moves under and, goes to the Detroit Pistons. And so he's just an exceptional athlete, but he's very, very fundamentally sound. Where Allen Iverson is somebody that isn't as fundamentally sound, whose crossover dribble would be way outside of his body. But the fact that he was so fast, could jump so high, and was so tenacious, he can make guys that were more fundamentally sound look really bad because of his athletic ability. Where you have other guys who are still great athletes like Steve Nash. Like sometimes people get it confused. Steve Nash is a great athlete. But a lot of what Steve Nash could do is because he was just so fundamentally sound. He could go left, he could go right, he could do all the different things that he needed to do. He had a long career based on that. Now, when Allen Iverson lost a step, right, when he got injured or when he got a little older and he might have abused his body a little bit when he was younger, with drinking or whatever, and that slowed down. Then guys like that tend to fade away quicker. Ali's the same way. That's somebody else he didn't have a lot of, people would think that Ali couldn't punch, but he had so much speed and he could hit you so quickly and you would wind up walking into punches that he had a very, very high knockout percentage without necessarily being somebody like George Foreman who had this, who really did have a lot of weight behind his punches. So I find it interesting, what Vladimir Klitschko's saying. He's saying that that he's not just going to go out and say that Anthony Joshua can't win. But if you listen to his words, he's saying, man, yeah, I'm not saying he wouldn't win, but Wilder has something, man. That's going to be something that's going to be something he's not seen before. That's going to be something that you've never seen before. And when you get into the ring with something you've never seen before, you don't know how that you're going to adapt. Deontay Wilder has been in the ring with people who are fundamentally sound. He's been in there with straight 1-2, we know jab, jab, right hand, jab, jab, right hand, jab, jab, body, jab to the body, jab. There's nothing that Anthony Joshua is going to bring to the plate as far as what his technique is or what his speed is that Deontay Wilder has not seen before. Or his coaching staff has not, with Mark Breland and JD's, that they've not seen before. But Deontay Wilder, that's an entirely different ball of wax, and that's why I think they don't want this fight to happen. All that talking to all that other stuff to the side, that fake offer with 10 days and a fixed bid aside, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.